Hello, my Pasco County friends. Today we're going to do an analysis of waterfront properties since Helene. Helene was September 26th, and there are 73 properties that I'm going to go over. This one here actually was not, this was the day before the hurricane, September 25th. This was listed at $295,000 and it sold for $295,000 the day before the storm. And then the first transaction after the storm was the next day. This did not flood. This was asking $415,000. It sold for $400,000 the next day. This is on the Anclote River. This is a stilt home. So $906,000 4 days after the storm. It's unrelated to this. It didn't flood like this one. Let's skip this. It's a multi-story. Is not what we're talking about when we're talking about flood homes. Okay. Janita was under contract for a long time prior to the storm at 374, and ultimately it was pending through the storm, and then it closed at 320. That's the highest price I think I've seen on a flood home in Hudson. All right, we're going to skip this because it's up in the air. Okay, this was the first flood home listed. It closed on October 18th. It was listed October 2nd. This is Bill Suhaki. Shout out. He did the first deal. They were asking $175 and it sold for $225. And everybody said, All right, this is Claudia. This is Bill again. Listed it at $250,000. Went under contract in 5 days for $225,000. The same price as Stacy. Claudia went. All right, Hatteras still home. Okay, Coxswain and Signal Cove. This is a mobile home. It flooded. It went under contract in 0 days for $125,000. Ponder that one for the 50% rule. All right, Perry Place, $1.375 million on September 30th, 4 days after the storm. Okay, Hudson Beach listed before the hurricane, sold for $200,000. Skip that one. It's good to see those transactions, but all right, Leslie asking $380, listed before the storm, sold for $200. Signal Cove mobile home asking $149, sold for $124 in 3 days. This has got a pretty spectacular lot. All right, Westport, 0 days, $335, sold for $335. On the same day it went on the market, it closed. All right, so this is the highest price we've seen. This is a 322 block home in Westport. Sea Pines, Mako, asking $269, sold above the asking price in over a year. I looked at this one. This is one of the few that have a septic tank. Okay, Stilt mobile home, we'll skip that. Florimar, asking $349, sold for $325. Summers on Hudson Beach, asking $199, sold in 6 days for $10,000 over the asking price. We're at November 7th. We're 2 weeks after the storm. Donzie, asking $315, sold for $300, closed on November 8th. Who was this listing and selling agent on that one? Oh, me. Oh, I'm trying to point. There it is. Cabin Court, Signal Cove, 2 days, went under contract at full price at $124. Florimar, 0 days on the market to go at full price at $375. For statistical purposes, McCrae, asking $199, sold for $199 in 1 day on November 12th. November 14th, asking $200, sold for $150 on Harbor. Asking $195, sold for $180 in 2 days. Lisa, 200 grand, got 175 in 8 days, closed November 15th. Signal Cove Mobile Home asking 174, sold for 160 in 9 days. Pleasure Isles asking 250, sold for 210. This was listed before the storm, and it was damaged. All these homes, I think they were all damaged. The ones on the ground that we're talking about here, 249, sold for 225. Interestingly, that one in Leisure Beach did not flood, and I have a theory about that. It's not going to come up on this list because it was listed, it wasn't canal waterfront, but okay, 539, sold for 392, listed before the storm, closed November 18th. 539 down to 392. 1995 house, so it's a stilt home. Second aisle, 12,700. Second aisle. Let's look at where it is. So I have a theory that these homes on this side didn't flood and this side flooded. That water was pushed in, or these are higher. I don't know. 249 sold for over the asking price, was listed November 7th, sold November 20th. Stacy. Wow, I don't know what to do. I think I might have messed up. I don't know if you can see my screen. I'm not sure how to go and check it. Gosh, if I have to do this again, I'll be very disappointed. All right, 459 asking or sold for 225. It was listed November 8th, sold for 225. Now we're asking 459. I'm pretty certain this flooded. This is a great. Oh, only one picture. Well, that's a giveaway. Harbor Isle, Great Hood, sold for $325 in 250 days. It was listed prior to the storm. I'm sure that was a $600,000 number or something that came down to there. Signal Cove, 174, sold for 155. Fair Lane, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. I shouldn't even name names, but that one sold, and I know that house pretty well. Okay, Blessing Lane, asking 375, sold for 375 in 10 days. We're up to November 27th. We've sold 40 properties. Signal Cove, 1 day, asking 174, sold for 170 for a mobile home. In 1 day. Okay, Signal Cove, asking 149, sold for 140 in 2 days. 135, sold for 126 in 5 days. Rio, asking 210, sold for 210 in 4 days. Who was the agent on that? Oh, Randy Jenkins. Bonita in Florimar, asking 600, listed before the storm, sold for 530. The sellers were incredibly quick with the remediation to ensure there is no moisture or mold growth. And they did that pretty quickly. It'll be interesting to see if you know the right questions to ask. I'm not going to ask them. But Sea Pines, 249, sold for 200 in 1 day. Listed, and they said, let's not wait. Let's take that buyer. Beverly, asking 180, sold for 180 in 0 days for data information only. Signal Cove, asking 149, sold for 125, 5 days. Westport, listed November 12th, sold December 2nd, asking 325. It sold for 293. It's got a pool. Driftwood Isles, not a stilt home, asking 375. Listed back in March, sold for 325. Probably a pretty good number because I'm pretty certain that was underwater Florimar 525 sold for 500. Investment opportunity. I guess that's another way to say it. Flooded. Florimar 495 sold for 485. Well, that just goes to show you the strength of that subdivision. Vista Del Mar 299 sold for 240. And this was a 1993 house. It depends on which month. Will depend on whether it has drywall downstairs or is not supposed to have drywall. Pleasure Isles asking 350, sold for 290 in 6 days. That's a great hood over there. Cape K 275 sold for 255. This is likely a mobile home. Yeah, it is. It's a great lot, but you ponder the 49% rule and all that mess, getting permits. I'm sure it's got to get the appraisal and prove the building's worth more and do a scope of work that's not everything and get under the 49% rule. 819 sold for 805. No hurricane damage. Okay, so it's just up high. It's on one of those canals. It's up high. 385 sold for 335 in 26 days. I think that actually did flood, though. Miller Bayou, great Martha's Vineyard address. Sold in 4 days. 319 sold for 250. Driftwood 360 sold for over the asking price. This is a 1982 home. It's 2 stories, but it's not a stilt home. That was kind of exuberant. Why would they pay so much more after it's been on the market for 357 days? Somebody came along and offered them $23,000 more than the asking price. It just goes to show we don't know. We do not know. Porpoise Place 770 sold for 685. This was listed before the hurricane, and it's bragging that it's very high elevation. Asking 320 sold for 310 in 10 days. So there's quite a few flood homes that sold in the 300s. Eve Lane asking 350, sold for 350 in 1 day. I mean, it's a great house and it's got a great boat lift and a pool, but you got to wonder, did it flood? 180 sold for 172. This is a mobile home for $172,000. Harbor Isles 414 sold for 390 in 5 days. Stilt home 395 sold for 495 sold for 480 in 90 days. It was listed. Well, that's very strange. How it could be 90 days on the market when it was listed in February and it didn't sell till December. It must have been withdrawn for a while. Seaforest Gulf Harbors 425 sold for 332, listed. This is another one of these weird ones. It says with list on market date is March, and it's only been 17 days. The math doesn't work. Hatteras listed for $199.99, sold for $185. How about that? Florimar asking $267, sold for $267 in 0 days. This just closed December 29th. December 30th, asking $305, sold for $295 in 200 days. Signal Cove, asking $185, sold for $165 in 37 days. $165,000. Well, looks goodish. Okay. Old Dixie Highway 119 sold for 144 days. Kind of looks like it's up in the air, but it's not. And this closed on January 2nd, January 3rd. Nope, it's also January 2nd. Oh, so nothing closed on January 3rd because they won't report those until Monday or so. 259,000 sold for 225,000 in 4 days. All right, so I'm going to jump over to that other criteria that seems to have some listings. Let me jump over to Canal Brackish. and see what we have. 13 properties sold in this criteria. So my theory that you got to have canal salt water isn't valid because these sold or were found in 11 days. Oh, this one I think says river. Yeah, see, oh, this says canal salt water too. So we covered this one, right? I remember this. It didn't flood. All right, Beacon Square, totally miscategorized. Westport 335 sold for 335. So that was correctly on the other list. This one is not. All right, this is on the river. 419 sold for 405. Oh, it has river on there. I didn't pull up river. San Mateo 319 sold for 285. Was listed in May. I think it flooded. I'm sure this one flooded. Asking 124 sold for 100 in 3 days. Stacy 459 sold for 225. This one was on the canal saltwater list. 299 sold for 220. I don't think we saw this one. See, canal brackish. It didn't have water access. They had canal saltwater. People aren't looking at water access. They're looking for water frontage. Okay. 129 sold for $92,000. Look at that. There you go. Deal of the day if you're buying mobiles. That is Beacon Woods, and that is not on the water. And that is not. Holiday Lake Estates is not on Gulf Access Waterfront. All right, I went on and on. Oh, 16 minutes. I made a record. That was short. Okay, let's just look at the pendings then. Let's see, the pendings. There's only 3. Let's add the other criterias in. Oh, we've got to add canal saltwater, and we should add river. They should have something called Gulf Access, and you don't have to explain what it is. There's 21 properties in those criterias. Sunray's not on the water. Driftwood Isles. Oh, these are by neighborhood. Let's do it by price. Okay. This is a condo pending at 130. Double wide pending at 135. Single wide pending at 149. It seems unlikely. 200 grand in Vista Del Mar. 210,000. I hope these people do their homework before they close and figure out whether their 49% rule is going to mess with them. Aloha Gardens is not canal access. That's on that little lake, Conley. Kathleen, listed November 22nd, went in pending for 2 days and hasn't closed yet. Investor or savvy buyer special. Can't imagine they're getting financing. 6 days at 247. Sand Pebble Condos. Hudson Beach Estates. 279 pending in 18 days. New roof. One must have flooded, but Westport pending at 330. I'm just not going to do the homework to figure out if they flooded. I think they all flooded, but I'm wrong a lot. I'm sure some of those have higher elevations. Florimar pending at 350 for 107 days. Marine Parkway pending for 15 days. Went on the market December 17th at 385. Signal Cove, Stilt Home, built in 1994. Florimar 550, listed long before the storm and pending. Florimar pending 575, listed December 18th, and went under contract in 10 days at 575. Another one, 579, listed in 2023. Driftwood, pending in 58 days, listed October 14th, listed after the storm. Who's the realtor on that one? Oh, Randall Jenkins. And Flotilla, this is on the Anclote River, and $625,000. Randy Jenkins here. I ran into a couple of people who said nice things about my videos and gave me confidence to try to find some content that might be interesting to somebody. And this was what I was thinking about. So I did this for me because I was interested to know what the numbers look like. In fact, you know what else I'm interested in? I'm interested in looking at the actives in this criteria. Okay, I was already open, but we should always go through this exercise. Pasco County has around 4,000 listings. It's 4,022. Pending is frighteningly low, 1197, and the 30-day solds are horrible. -7, -37. This way we go back because the transaction for the last 3 or 4 days haven't shown up yet. So for a 30-day number, here we have 1187. But we're getting a lot of bad press up north from the media up there talking about how Florida's got all these challenges, hurricanes and flooding and insurance and taxes. So it says there's 145 properties for sale in these criterias. You know, if we take out the condos and just look at the mobile homes and the block homes or the single family homes. All right, so 106. All right, Vista Del Mar. This is the first one that's actually Gulf access. 119,000, 125,000, 145,000. Now we're at. You know what? Let's take out the mobiles. You can't be buying the mobiles. It's just too dangerous with this 50% rule. I'd be selling mobiles. Okay, not block homes, but single family homes. 150, 159, 199, 220, 220, 225, 249, 250. So if you were an investor, what would you be doing? How would you analyze the market? Let's look at that. So let's say we wanted to spend below 250,000. Not even, we don't want to spend that. We're just going to use those for our data. So there's 8 of them. Let me just look at those 8. This is not really Gulf access like we mean. This is on the Anclote River way up by Rowan Road and Seven Springs. Okay, here's the first one. 159, 199. And let's say we only wanted to get block homes and get rid of those frame houses. I have a lot of criteria that I use in my saved exterior construction. We're going to do block. All right, so there's 5 under $250,000. Let's go up to $350,000. There's 20. And let's say we wanted to get something that was at least, 1,000 square feet. And we're still at 20. Oh, that's 100 square feet. Let's go to 1,000 square feet. There's 18. And let's say we wanted the best price per square foot. Or no, let's actually just look at it and then rank them by price per square foot. That one here, we've got to get rid of that one. And Jasmine Acres. So Leisure Beach is the cheapest block home with this square footage. Oh, this is my listing too. There I am again, Randy Jenkins. Okay. So look at the size of that canal. The house is pretty scary, but this is 225 grand. Sea Pines for 249. Pleasure Isles for 275. This is on the Anclote River for 279. 275. Went backwards. All right. Pleasure Isle, 279. Yeah, I think they're just, 50 or $75,000 overpriced up here, maybe. So really, we've got to go back down and say, does any of these make sense? This does not make sense. That's not waterfront. I mean, it's not Gulf Access. I mean, it is by kayak. All right, first aisle, $186 a square foot is the list price. $173 a square foot is the list price for this Sea Pines house, and it has a dock. $249. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage, and a floating dock. Ooh, you can see the line here. Look at that. There's the line. It went over the windows. Scary stuff when you're in the house and it's happening. Okay. Randy Jenkins. It's easy to remember my phone number. 727. You know Formula 409? I'm 409-HOME. HOME. 409-HOME. And you can see some of my content on some of my websites, 409home.com. And you can search MLS from here, and some of the buttons that I prepared for some of these for actual buyers, I just made them a button so they didn't have to go get an email. Also, my YouTube page, it would be glorious if I could get my subscribers up. I'm at 65, which is a huge improvement over my 23 that I had back in like 4 or 5 months ago. And then here's my videos. And I put this one up. I didn't actually, this shop for a home you need to know, 8 people looked at that. I did no marketing on this. Hudson waterfront before and after the storm, 21 views was pretty disappointing. I was hot back here. November 14th, I had 211. November 10th, 325. Anyway, all these subjects are there here. This sinkhole video is pretty good. If you haven't watched that one. The biggest mistake in waterfront realty. I had a rant about canal brackish. Hey, I wish you all a great day. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.